Alright, timestamp May 31st, 2026. It's almost 4 p.m. I've been up for a couple hours. I stayed up late. I was up till about 5 a.m. Just didn't feel like sleeping, you know. My throat, health check, um, panic attack-ish. My throat, as far as my sore throat is concerned, because I mentioned that the other day, it is clearing up, I think, which is not typical if it were something else. And that's, bear in mind, that's not me being like neurotic. With emphysema, I'm a lot more prone to certain things. It does make me more susceptible to various things, plus the fact that I smoke, more of that. So anytime something weird starts happening, it gets my attention because it could be upping the stakes of the whole staying alive thing. You know, nothing major. A very small detail. But I've been pounding the vitamin C. I got some kiwis. I shared a kiwi with my kid last night, who I was told Tiny likes fruit in general, but isn't really big on like crunchy fruit. You know, I do bake fruits with like honey and whatnot, which makes it, you know, palatable and more acceptable. So there's that. But I asked Tiny, I'm like, have you ever had a kiwi before? And they were like, I don't know. So we split a kiwi, and very positive reception. This is really good. Normally, I mean, bananas are fine. Bananas get eaten around here. Of course, now I start having a coughing fit. You're welcome. But melon, this watermelon, cantaloupe, are usually the big hit for Tiny. But this apparently made the like top 5 list, which is cool. You know, sharing something with your kid and learning something, you know, enhancing their palate. It's kind of cool. It was okay, this is really good. This isn't like cantaloupe good, but this is, I could eat these. Like, yeah. So, cool. But, some of the health people that I watch, one of them is Dr. William Li, L.I. I've actually got 2 of his books. He's basically he's a cancer researcher who also studies the way that food fights disease, and how you can actually shape your diet, you know, to stay alive. I've actually got 2 of his books, which are How to Eat to Beat Your Disease, I think, or something like that, and the How Not to Die cookbook, which is pretty funny, actually, but really good stuff, and not, come on, Tannhauser. It's not even like duck pizza kind of stuff, and I'll explain that in a second. I've explained it before, but I use that phrase every now and then. I'm sure there are some people out there that are like, duck pizza? So my girl and I present. There you go. My girl and I, this might be pre-kids. I don't know. Long time ago. Just chilling around the house. We were watching, I guess it would have been like HGTV. Might have been the Food Network. I don't know. That's how long ago we're talking about. I apologize. And Emerald, you know, bam, was on. And he was doing a show, and he's like, so let's, today we're going to make a pizza. We're just going to see what's in the fridge, and we'll use those as the ingredients, and I'm going to show you how you can improvise a pizza. And we were like, oh, okay, cool, this is neat. And pulled open the fridge door on his set, and he's like, oh, I got a couple pounds of duck in here. You know, let's go ahead and use that. He's like, this is something that, everybody might have in their fridge. And he seemed pretty, like, legit, like, this is normal. And if this is normal for you, I'm going to let you know that that is not normal for 99 out of 100 of your friends. To just have, like, a couple pounds of duck meat in the fridge. That is not the norm. Is it okay? Yeah. Yeah. Is it something that the average American opens their door and has inside? No, it really isn't. It is not. So anytime, at least with my wife and I, we get presented with a recipe, because frequently, recipes are almost always delivered under the pretense of, this is simple and basic, and you can make it out of things that you have in your kitchen. How many times have you seen that? And you start reading off the ingredients and you're like, I don't have a third of the things in here. Tomatoes? Yeah, I have that. Cheese? I do have some white cheese, yeah. It's an Italian blend. It's not specifically mozzarella, but it could work in this situation. 2 pounds of duck meat. Nope, don't have that. You know what I mean? It's like most people don't have some of the things that are on these basic recipes that you can make very simply in 5 minutes with things you have in your kitchen. So anytime we see one of those recipes and we start looking at it and it's like, nope, yes, yes, nope, 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 I don't even know what that is, yes, I do have that, it has become labeled duck pizza. That this is not the basic recipe you're trying to sell it as kind of recipe. None of the stuff I'm going to amend that before I actually finish the sentence. Most of the recipes in Dr. Lee's cookbooks are not duck pizza. Most of them are, yeah, I have that. I have everything but one item there, and that's not too hard to get. Like, to be frank with you, I do occasionally see duck at the meat counter. Occasionally, and I'm in Florida, so maybe it's more common up in, New England, in New York, or something like that. I haven't shopped in New York or Boston or Maine or whatnot in a very long time. I have traveled a bit, but that was a long time ago. I don't see duck on the shelf that often. Every now and then, I do. I will concede that, but not often. So, but yeah, most of the stuff in his cookbooks is not duck pizza. A lot of it's Mediterranean diet, which, if you're not familiar with it, look it up. Mediterranean diet, a lot of yummy food, good food, and it's nice when you can eat good food and it's actually good for you too. That's pretty cool, Exactly. Try to prevent that. So I'm going to be been up for a couple hours out catching up on the news, and I guess this is a moment of politics. Everyone's bailing on the big 250th party that the orange guy was going to try and throw for himself. All the music acts are like, yeah, no, that wasn't what we were told. We were told it was just an event in D.C. We didn't know it was being basically sponsored by you guys. We want no part of this, which I think is hilarious. So I guess they're all backing out, and he's canceling the event and basically saying that y'all are washed up anyway, I don't want you at my party, kind of thing. Which a lot of the acts that they had booked are... a lot of them have pranced into the realm of obscurity. It's true. I would argue that Martina McBride, not Taylor Swift, but, there's a career there. The Commodores, it's really hard to call someone, because I've seen this word thrown around for the Commodores in regards to this event. It's really hard to call a group that was that iconic a has-been. That's kind of pushing it. You're a has-been. Okay, so they're not the name that they were, but the fact that, little children still know the name of the Commodores, like the Temptations, you know, the Four Tops, Diana Ross and the Pips, the fact that these names still get uttered should mean something 40, 50, 70 years later, give them a break. Are they has-beens? Maybe from a certain point of view, but they're also legends who are now very old. It's okay to cut them a little bit of slack here. And I'm very sorry that your Fifis were hurt because they didn't want to show up and parade for you. Yeah, no. These men were alive in 1965 and they see what you're doing right now. I don't think I'd want to show up either. There, that was my political statement for the day. But suffice it to say, I think it's hilarious that we're now at the "you didn't break up with me, I broke up with you" place. I am unshocked, or unshocked, if you prefer Shakespearean translation. I'm still Marvin on a roller coaster. We're doing some oldie donut shop blend. They're quite good. No notes. I'm going to be listing the hell out of Beanie Babies today. I'm very excited by that. Yesterday I did a lot of cleanup around here, and I did some, because, nope, not going to ask. That was probably Queenie doing some kind of agony of defeat acrobatics. I'm just going to leave it alone. Hi, Queenie, how'd that go? Okay, you lick yourself, that's fine. I don't need captioning. I know pretty much what happened off screen there. I'll clean it up in a minute. But yeah, I haven't had any action or love on the Beanie Babies that are up right now. A few views, no watchers, no bids. But with 80 totes worth of them, I'm committed. I have to make a play for it. I have to try and sell them. Because 80 totes of Beanie Babies. My God. I'm drowning in footwear. It's really, yeah. So we're just going to keep trying. I'm going to list other things as well. Because if I devote all my time to something that isn't going to sell, then I've wasted a lot of time. That money could be coming in. So that would be foolish. And I'm trying not to be foolish. I attempt whenever possible to be fool-like, but not foolish. But I made a lot of progress, and I separated a lot of the beanies, put them in individual bags and whatnot for storage, or 5-packs, things like that. So they're prepped to get ready to photograph and then list. And because I've already listed groups of all the different types, because I'm only doing like 4 different kinds of lots, small lots, large lots of small beanies, small singles, and then large singles. I've got basically like 4 different listing styles. So because I've already listed some of each of these 4 templates, I can now do a sell similar and basically just open up another large single that I already have for sale. Sell similar, replace the photographs, replace little bits of text here and there, like the name of the critter, and then boom, list it. So it makes it all very streamlined and faster, which is good because, my God in heaven, Do you need any Beanie Babies while we're on the subject? Um, Let me know. But I've got a mountain of other toys and things that I want to try and list too. We did get rained out on the garage sale, sort of. I mean, I had a headache. We're in the middle of so many different things right now, and it actually did start raining about 10 a.m., so we would have been cut short. And it came down pretty hard for an hour or two, so. Trying to think, basically, we would have been set up for an hour or two, probably seen the clouds, and then started a tactical withdrawal. So we might have only been open for about 2 hours before we would have had to start closing up shop. And then hopefully beat the rain before it, pelted us. So I don't actually feel bad in my choice, because as the way things played out, might have had sales first 2 hours, but and something else, and this is just something that I know from doing garage sales, from going to garage sales years ago. If the weather is looking like rain, a lot of people won't even go out to go shopping at garage sales, because they're like, most people aren't going to actually set up because they can see what's coming. You know what I mean? They preemptively stop themselves from going out, because only an idiot would. We're going into summer in Florida, so I probably will still be that idiot every now and then. And on a day where I know it's most likely going to rain later, we may just have to do a smaller one so it's easier to pack. Because we're going to have to start, if we're going to maintain our goal of being mostly wrapped up in about a year, and I know that's crazy, but we're going to try it. We've got to have goals, right? We've got to start doing garage sales at least every other week. At least, maybe every week for quite a while. I don't know. I don't want to say that I'm out of my depth, because I know I can handle this, but on the daily, my head does feel like it's going to explode when I look around here, just because, my God. And I have read some horror stories. I read one a while back, and I think I mentioned this before. It was a young lady who was basically the it girl as far as the family was concerned, and basically was de-hoarding her aunt's place, her auntie. And from some of the descriptions, her aunt and my mom would have been friends. They would have been competitive from a hoarding standpoint. And she said that it took her about 8 years to get done. Now, she was working like a part or full-time job while doing it, but I mean, think about this. I know it sounds like I'm whining all the time. This young lady basically spent 8 years of her life cleaning up after someone else. Man, I'm in my 50s. I have technically a terminal disease. I don't want to spend what time I got left cleaning up my parents' mess. I don't think it's fair, honestly. Me, but it's pretty shitty. So, but yeah, my throat's starting to feel a lot better, which, my understanding, if it was the C word, it would not actually be feeling better. I've been hitting vitamin C, been taking my pills. And also trying to make sure that I'm doing the right thing food-wise, even though, yes, I'm still at 2 cigars a day. I'm working on that. I really am. Dear God in heaven. I'm a stress smoker, and sadly, there's stress. I've got people asking questions about, I listed some of the 4 Patriots MRE survival food. I've got a couple listings up there, and I've already gotten a couple of hits and some watchers, so that would be cool, because to say we've got like 30 or so of the big, like, long plastic tote crate kind of things. Got like 30 of those. Um, mm, mm, mm. Well, while I don't trust the federal government right now, I don't know that an apocalypse of that scale is happening. I would like to think there are enough good people. I'm talking people, not necessarily politicians, because way too many of them are in on the cake. Um, I would like to think that we can pull ourselves out of that situation before we get to that level. I remain optimistic. But even with the four of us, 30 is excessive. You know. And I have separated out. I'm going to walk around and scrap, you're fine. Need to do laundry, need to wash the junk towels. Yeah, she did something over here. Little robot processing in the background. But I mean, yeah, we've got those plastic totes that I've repacked into going through. And it's stuff like the oatmeal, Spanish rice. Some of those are ones we want to try. We don't necessarily want to just dismiss them as these are nasty. Maybe I'll whip one of those up today. I don't know. Aztec chili with mango. See, what I'm thinking there is I may do that. Because I've got some frozen mango chunks in there. And this may sound weird, but if they're already doing mango as part of it, I may actually look at adding mango plus chili, so I can do one of the like tube sausages, one of the ground turkey, the imitation ground beef. Throw one of those in there. It's a chili, so dice up a red onion maybe or two. Got a bell pepper in there too. Really pat it. We typically do, when we do one of the meal packs, we usually do 2 packs, because that way it feeds all 3 of us with typically some leftovers. So, yeah, we're going to try that one. Put that on the table, see what happens. But there have been a couple that we've been rejected just because there was a weird aftertaste that just annoyed the hell out of us. And if it's something that we're not going to ever want to have to eat, why have it? Why have it? I'll just sell it, because somebody else either won't have an aftertaste, won't notice it, or won't care because they're just trying to buy survival food and not being a snob, I guess, like we are. But yeah, I've got like the oatmeal and cream of wheat and rice, and you need to try the pudding too. They have a chocolate pudding and a vanilla pudding, and I don't know if they're going to be ambrosia or nauseating. I don't know. Powdered milk. That's useful. I mean, it's hard to dress up powdered milk, but if you need milk for cereal or baking or something like that, powdered milk works great in just about any pinch, you know. We did try the sweet berry cream of wheat. Pretty good. Made a big old cauldron of that. That didn't last. Everybody had a couple ladles of that. Oh, you help me over here, Doodle? You okay? You a little congested? My sinus cat? But yeah, these are the totes I'm talking about. I got some of the beanies that are already listed in those, repurposing those things. Hey, friend. I love that cat. this grant. Yeah, I mean, that's some of them that I've already repurposed. Don't worry, there's more. There's always more. Right? I'm starting to try and dig my way into this collection of Pam Mashirna, so I can actually recapture some space in the garage, because there's a lot of space out here. But I mean, that's the stacking that was going on. That's not good stacking. That's not helpful. That is in fact ridiculous and bad. And yeah, see, there's some more of the wrapping paper up top there, which my mom swears sells really well at garage sales, or swore, I guess, past tense, right? Because yeah, she swore by it. Not swear is present tense. English teacher coming out, right? Some of that Pix and I are going to look through because we can use it for crafting purposes. Makes great wallpaper. Can also make smaller gift boxes and things like that for dolls and stuff. And some of it we're going to sell. We did actually sell, I think 3 rolls at the garage sale we did. I want to say 3 rolls. I think somebody bought 1 and somebody bought 2. Which, look at me, I'm mathing. Aren't I cool? I didn't even need like a little triangle. 1 + 2 = triangle. Solve for the triangle. Y'all remember that? They still do that in elementary? Square plus 3 = 7. It's kind of funny when you think about it, because I remember those from like 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade. It's algebra. But instead of using letters, they were using shapes. They're just sneaking in a little pre-algebra in there when you really think about it. You know, instead of square, it's, you know, X or Y, or... You get me. You were doing algebra in 1st grade. Yeah. Anyway, that was just a little sidebar note from a crazy person. So yeah, I've got, pull the dishes out, dishes in. I don't think I'll have enough to actually run it. I think we may do the Aztec chili with mango. And I do have some, half a bag of frozen mango up there. I'm going to smell the mix when I open it to see, try and gauge how strong the mango is. Is it just a hint, or is it like a really prominent thing, you know? So I don't know. First time. I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. Take that for a drive. But yeah, Beanie Babies, other toys. Trying to load up. Scared to, but I'm going to refresh just to see. Yeah, no change. I mean, this is kind of a test, and at the same time, it's an important one because of the volume of product that I have. You know? You know, if you speak retail, I've got, here's an interesting thought. 6, If we say you could do 6 totes on a level on a pallet, it's not too crazy, right? Go about 4 foot on the pallet. I'm going to get all kinds of retail warehouse here. I got 80 totes, right? We'll say that you could do about 18 totes worth on a pallet. Be 3 high and a pretty fat stack. Not a fat stack the way the kids refer to a fat stack now, but you get me. So, a little bit of bleed. I got 4 pallets. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that I have, and for Q and all of my retail buddies still out there, I got four pallets, basically, of beanies. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's not like doing the math in the loft and whatnot, and like spatial sense, kind of taking a piece and like in your head, like I almost said head and mind, so hind, putting it on top of kind of thing. It's all very Tony Stark. Yeah, I got 4 pallets. I basically pulled about a half pallet, and I'm trying to market it right now to see how boned am I, She spent so much money on it. I'd love to try and recoup some of that, but I don't know how well that's going to go. I'll keep you posted. I know there's exciting, like riveting YouTube action. Bright side, I currently am rather sloppy, but I'm not AI slop. I am a real person. So if you don't like the fact that AI is invading YouTube, hang out with me. Not necessarily exciting, but we could be friends. Yeah. I'm going through my own version of real life right now. I'm sure it's different and also the same as what you're going through. The economy sucks right now. The federal government's being run by a madman. If we can relate on some of those basic points, we can probably see eye to eye in some things. I am an unapologetic dork when it comes to sci-fi and horror and fiction and literature and all that kind of stuff. I'm an actor, writer, retail manager, and professional goofball. Good at what I do, but I'm in an overwhelming situation in some ways. So this is my therapy, and it's also my way of documenting my course through emphysema, because there's not a lot of that out there, honestly. A lot of that in the de-hoarding process. There's not a lot that I've seen that's like daily, step-by-step, play-by-play, like live journaling of that kind of thing. That's what I'm kind of doing. I plan on doing an entry a day. Occasionally I miss, but an entry a day until I can't. The sobering reality. And I'm hoping that's 20, 30, 40 years from now. But it could be next March. I don't know. This is my first time, in this lifetime with a terminal disease. So, when I was diagnosed, I was told, okay, emphysema, it's terminal, but manageable. I'm going to drop a bomb here. What the fuck does that mean? It's terminal, but manageable? So you're going to die, but it's okay. Pourquoi? That's what my doctor told me. Terminal, but manageable. Oh, okay. Well, I shouldn't worry then. It's manageable. Sure. And I've been worrying ever since, because the whole terminal thing kind of sticks with you. And that's reality. My parents both cognitive decline. My mom died last year. My dad's in a home right now. Currently, at least last time I talked to him last week, thinks it's 1964 and I'm his cousin. Little unusual, right? So I'm sure I'm going through some things that you're not, but I'm a dorky dad raising some kids. Kind of. I mean, they're 19 and 23. I call them teenagers. The 23-year-old's autistic, so in some ways he's 50 and incredibly wise and intelligent, and in other ways he's 12 years old and prone to tantrums. It depends on the day. He's insightful and sometimes immature. And the other one, the 19-year-old, is chomping at the bit to go out and live real life, and we're trying to make that a possibility. But we got to cut through this bullshit first. Every family's going through something. That's some of what I'm going through. I'm separated from my wife because she's living at our house and I'm living at my parents' house. We're not separated. It's just geography, because we're trying to fix everything all at once. Also, just reality for us. Because not AI. Real life in our own interesting hellscape and trying to make it work. So, but yeah, I'm real. Poke. I have 5 fingers. My exciting sterling silver ring with moldavite. Love this thing. Now I do have a 3-legged cat. He's a ginger. His name is Janus, and if you see him in the background at any point, understand that he's a tripod. He's a real 3-legged cat. That's not AI going, oh, I think that's right as cats go. Yeah, just print it. That's fine. It looks good. I feel like we're forgetting something. Nah, run it. He is an amputee. He's real. And, yeah. Oh, and my tuxedo Hexie that I was interacting with earlier, he has 7 toes on his front paws. Also not an AI. Those look like cat paws. Yeah. Let's put that on the screen. Render that. That's where his name came from, Hexie. Hex dash Y, or I, it's a mathematical joke. 6 + 1. Because we're dorks. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up here and get to work. Here's what I'm thinking. So, hug your parents. Hug your kids. Try to avoid all of this. Make it a great day.